Let me invite you to go back to your hymnals, to that opening hymn. And it's good if you follow along as I try to reread what we sang earlier. I think the words are very meaningful. 547. Be thou my vision. Okay, stay away from that mic. Says here, be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou art my best thought, by day and by night, walking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom, be thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, I thy true Son, thou in me dwelling, and I with thee, one. Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou art my inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart, High King of heaven, my treasure, thou art. Is the computer causing feedback, Marissa? Okay, I'll continue. High King of heaven, when victory is won, may I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. Make sure. Please join me as I pray once more before we enter your message. High King of heaven, my vision, my wisdom, my treasure, my all. Please be our vision. Please be our all. As we are about in a few hours, 7 hours at most, to enter into a new year. Dear Lord, please, we don't want to go it alone. Please be our vision, our wisdom, our treasure, our all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let me try an experiment today. Which one of these mics will be good? Which one is longer? I need 2 volunteers. The kids. I need a girl. There's one. Can you come up, please? You can both come up. Okay? No, I want a younger person. Thank you very much. One. I didn't say young. I say younger. Okay? And a boy, a brave boy. Oh, come up, please. Just come right here. Let me ask you a question. What would you like to be when you grow up?
A veterinarian.
You heard that, right? Say it again.
A veterinarian.
Veterinarian. All right. You like animals? Nice. A kind heart. And what about you?
A police officer.
A police officer. Is that a surprise? He wants people to behave themselves, right? And do the right things. Okay, you can get back to your seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, a survey was done in one of our Christian institutions asking that same question. What would you like to be when you grow up? What do you think the answers were? those answers you just heard. Okay? Among the children, the boys, they said firefighter, policeman, astronaut. And the girls? What did the girls say? Yes, I heard one, yes. They were teacher, and then nurse, or doctor. But what was the number one desire? Anyone? They wanted to be a mommy. They wanted to be like their mommy, like their mother. You ladies, you are doing a great job. You are doing an excellent job. Now, if we go elsewhere and we look out, and you can go on the internet or you could go to magazines and you look, there is a Fatherly report, and I want to just read to you briefly what it says. The Fatherly Imagination Report is based on nearly 500 responses by kids between the ages of 1 and 10 who were asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this is what the article revealed. I quote, kids still want to be doctors when most of them are terrified to visit one. It's a snapshot of a generation that is just as susceptible to the draw of sports superstars as any that came before it, but also one that is nearly as drawn to the new superstars of science and technology. If nothing else, it is a reminder of the guileless, fascinating way in which kids view the adult world. One thing is not a benchmark by which parents should measure their own kids' hopes and dreams. Remember, all these kids will change their minds about their favorite goldfish 6 times by Saturday, next Sabbath. The Fatherly Imagination Report will probably look entirely different if we should conduct it again next week. The most popular jobs, how about the collective awe for the timeless altruism of kids? Doctors, teachers, firefighters, veterinarians, and cops dedicate their lives to the common good. That kids want to do the same bodes well for the world in your old age as for us. Just try to keep the concept of malpractice insurance away from them until after med school. Okay, don't quench that fire. Despite this celebrity-saturated culture they live in, kids have little interest in acting or music. But their fascination with professional sports stars is intense, which may or may not have anything to do with your screaming at the TV screen once or twice a week. And while kids don't know enough about engineers to figure out which kind they want to be, and there might be 10 kinds, I have one of them in my family, they know enough to want to be one in the first place. So, if nothing else, maybe that college education will wind up paying for itself. That's good hopes. Now, here are the partial list as ranked by that website. Pro athlete, 11%. Doctor, 8% of the respondents. They don't know, 7%. Teacher, 5%. Veterinarian, 5%. Firefighter, 3.25%. Scientists, about 2.85%. And I give these numbers because it was a graph and I had to figure out more or less what these numbers would be. Astronaut, 2.75%. Engineer, 2.75%. And police, 2%. If you add it up, it won't come up to 100. These are the top 10 ranked by the kids, okay? So, Now, what about New Year's resolution? How many have done a New Year's resolution before? Anyone? Okay, I see a few hands. Another question. How many of you have already done a New Year's resolution or resolutions for the coming year? Any hands? Okay. Similarly, okay, a few hands. Next question. How successful have you been in the past at reaching, keeping? Oh, good, here's a hand. Okay, those resolutions. Okay, 1, 2. Well, you're statistically correct. About 10% of us, whoever make a resolution, are successful in keeping these resolutions. Now, I wonder why that will be. But before we go there, what about organizations? What about companies? You might be thinking about the title right now. Strategic Spiritual Planning. A New Year's resolution. Strategic spiritual planning. A New Year's resolution. So what about organizations? Well, if we look worldwide, a quote from the Geddes report says that worldwide, we see that many startups are launched worldwide. 100 million new businesses per year. Have any idea how many that is? That is more than 3 every second. New startups, entrepreneurs. More than 3 every second. That's an interesting statistic. What about here in the United States? The chairman and CEO of Gallup that does the Gallup poll, it says in their business journal that was dated January 13, 2015, that's recent, under the title American Entrepreneurship, Dead or Alive. Sounds like a movie. American Entrepreneurship, Dead or Alive, and I quote, the U.S. Census Bureau reports that the total number of new business startups and business closures per year, in other words, the birth and death rates of American companies have crossed for the first time since measurement began. And he says, I am referring to employer businesses, those with 1 or more employees, the real engines of economic growth. 400,000 new businesses are being born annually nationwide. That is here in the United States. While 470,000 per year are dying. 400 are born, 470,000 are dying each year. I want to compare this to a trip or a journey. To me, that would be similar to driving in reverse with your destination in sight. You got that? It's like driving in reverse with your destination in sight. That's what we're doing here in this country. We have a deficit of 70,000 businesses every year. Not everyone who starts a business is successful. Okay? In keeping that business alive a year, sometimes even months, into the future. Now, why is this happening to us as individuals? I saw the statistic right here. We make these goals, we set up these goals, but then we don't reach them. Companies get started, but they don't succeed. Why is this happening in America? Why is this happening around the world? Why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to me? Why are we failing to reach our goals? You may find several answers around you. In the media, opinions given by psychologists and therapists are similar. And for the most part, I have to agree with them. The problem lies in us. We either did or did not what we were supposed to in order to make our dream, our goal, a reality. So let's not blame someone else. Okay? That is on the individual level. And here are a few published opinions. Here, 10 reasons why New Year's resolutions fail. 10 reasons. This is by Daniel Wallen. And he says, a new year beautifully symbolizes a new chapter opening in the book that is your life. The book, which is your life, a new chapter. For while so many people like you aspire to achieve ambitious goals, only 12% of you will ever experience the taste of victory. 12%. Like 1 in 10. Sounds bad? It is. 156 million people, that is 156 and 6 zeros, will probably give up on their resolution before you can say confetti. That is the New Year's confetti. 156 million will give up. Another. Here's another. And this is from Psychology Today by Ray Williams. Why New Year's resolutions fail. And this was posted in December 27th of 2010. The start of a new year is often the perfect time to turn a new page in your life, which is why so many people make New Year's resolutions. But why do so many resolutions fail? Researchers have looked at success rates of people's resolutions. The first 2 weeks usually go along beautifully. But by February, people are backsliding. And by the following December, most people are back where they started, often even further behind. Why so many people not keep their resolutions? Are people just weak-willed, or lazy? Making resolutions work is essentially changing behaviors, and maybe this might have a lot of truth, so let's listen to this part. Making resolutions work is essentially changing behaviors. And in order to do that, you have to change your thinking and rewire your brain. Brain scientists such as Antonio Damasio and Joseph Liddous and psychotherapist Stephen Hayes have discovered, through the use of MRIs, that habitual behavior is created by thinking patterns that create neural pathways and memories, which become the default basis for your behavior when you're faced with a choice or decision. Trying to change that default thinking by not trying to do it, in effect, just strengthens it. Change requires creating neural pathways for new thinking. So if you are going to make New Year's resolutions, here are some tips to help you make them work. Quickly, 1, focus on one resolution rather than several. 2, set realistic, specific goals. Losing weight is not a specific goal. Losing 10 pounds in 90 days will be. Don't wait till New Year's Eve, that's coming soon, to make resolutions. Don't wait. Make it a year-long process every day. You need to commit every day. 4, take small steps. Many people quit because the goal is too big, requiring too big a step at once. Too big a step all at once. That doesn't help. 5, have an accountability buddy, someone close to you that you have to report to. That tends to work for some people. 6, celebrate your success between milestones. And then don't wait for the goal to be finally completed, so encourage yourself. Focus, number 7. Focus your thinking on new behaviors and thought patterns. You have to create new neural pathways in your brain to change habits. And that's one of my favorites. We need to have alternatives. Embrace the change and make your mind go in that direction and create that experience and keep it going until it becomes a habit, and then you have something going for you. Okay? 8, focus on the present. What's the one thing you can do today, right now, towards your goal? 9, be mindful. Become physically, emotionally, and mentally aware of your inner state as each external event happens, moment by moment, rather than living in the past or in the future. Don't put it off. And those say, oh, I couldn't do it yesterday. Today, now, what am I going to do about this temptation, about this habit that I want to break? Now, not yesterday, today. Tomorrow, Jesus says, will take care of itself. We'll face that bridge and cross it tomorrow. But today, what are we doing now? Okay? Finally, don't take yourself so seriously. Well, take this with a grain of salt. Have fun and laugh at yourself when you slip. But don't let this slip hold you back from working at your goal. Okay? I think those are good advices. There are many opinions out there. You may read about them at your leisure. I mean, Google has so much, way too much. Okay? You can read it at your leisure. Now, let's go the other way now. Why do organizations fail? Well, that's a question we're not going to elaborate here today. Neither here nor today. But organizations do fail, and we know that. Now, we talk about New Year's resolutions. The next question in your title will be, what is strategic planning? What is that? Okay? How is it done? Why is it done? What are the steps? A process? Who wants a process? Huh? Well, let me tell you what I found strategic planning is. To me, it's like a trip. Okay? That'll be an easy definition for the kids. For all of us. Let's be young at heart. You choose your destination, and if you are on a limited budget, which most of us are on, we then decide to get there to our destination in a reasonable amount of time and at a manageable cost. Hope that's simple enough. We choose a destination and we figure out how to get there with our resources, limited resources, in a reasonable amount of time. If we're going on a trip, we will most likely need a map. And there was a story 2 weeks ago, I think, about a map. Using a map. Now, here's a definition if you like definitions. businessdictionary.com defines strategic planning this way. I quote this: a systematic process of envisioning a desired future and translating this vision into broadly defined goals and objectives and a sequence of steps to achieve them. No good. I wish I was rich. Oh, I wish I had this degree. If you don't take the steps to reach it. Okay? Strategic planning is what purpose-driven organizations that tend to survive do. In our realm, we will say that a purpose-driven Christian who tends to be successful also do this. Okay? I could just go off here for a while and digress, but I don't want to. Okay? Now, I said you needed a map. A strategic plan map will include the following things. You're going to hear several terms. Don't get concerned about them. You'll hear enough in between to make it easy to implement. But these are the terms that you will hear when we talk about strategic planning. You hear about a purpose, a vision, a mission. Okay? So if you take out the map, you will see that strategic plan will have a map. And for the organization, it will be, these are the questions. Why do we exist as an organization? For me and you, it will be, who am I? You need to answer those questions. The kids usually come up to that question sooner or later. Who am I? What am I doing here? Second, the vision. For an organization, it would be where we want to be. For us, where I want to be, or what, for the kids, what I want to be when I grow up. That's the vision. The mission, is another word, is how we get there. And the map. This is where we want to go. How do I get there? For us as individuals, it's the same question. How do I get where I want to go? Now, if you've ever been involved in this process, anywhere, you may have heard a strange word, they say SWOT. What is that? It's not a SWAT, it's a SWOT. Okay? It's an acronym. And it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. More words. But you know what they mean. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The corporate world, organizations face this. You and I face this. So, all of these considerations, along with long-term and short-term goals and measurable objectives, help us focus on our needs and wants, and the needs and wants of our customers are the basis of our future plans at a cost we can afford. All of these things I just mentioned, packaged together, help us focus our efforts and put them in a plan to reach our destination, a goal. Wait a minute. Is this biblical? What are we talking about here? Is this material for church? The leaders probably at some point will be involved in this. So, but it won't be during worship service. But this will be a little taste. Okay, is this biblical? Should we as a church be doing this to begin with? Well, let me paraphrase Jesus' words in Luke 14:28 when he says, "Whoever builds anything worthwhile without a budget." That's my paraphrase. You can find that out there, okay? You can look it up, Luke 14:28, and my Bible will say, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it?" Count the cost. Now, if your soul should be lost. That's the song, very meaningful song. If you're planning to get there, we'll soon get there as we go through this briefly. You need to count the cost and make sure that you are committed and you have the resources to get there. God's word establishes strategic planning as one of the ways He works in and through His people. There are a number of leaders, yes, number of leaders in Scripture who thought and acted strategically. Yes, strategic planning is found in Scripture. And we could call names, and I have a lot here, but we will move along. Let's talk about Moses. If he wasn't strategically oriented with all that military training first, surely Jethro, when he got a hold of him, he got him straight and helped him to get this 1.5 million or 2 million people organized in a way that they will not be swarming him all the time. Okay? You know the story. Joshua, Moses' protege. He had now to implement everything that Moses told him that he was supposed to do, but now he can't. So it's all you. It's all on you now. And God showed him from the very get-go that you don't go it alone. Not because you have all these armies and you have a few horses and all these equipment that you got from all the dead Egyptians on the seashore. The war, not the fight. The war is not yours. The battle is not yours. It's the Lord's. So God showed him from the first day, no, you don't depend upon yourself. If you want to reach someplace, if you want to be somebody, you need to follow my plan. Just go take a walk around the city and take a good look. And be quiet. Tell the people, say no words. And do that several times so it's sink in. You know, repetition is good. They did it 7 times. And 7 times on the 7th day. That's meaningful, just like our M547. And last hymn was also ending on 7. 7 times. Then the walls came down. He could have done it in the first day. He could have done it on the 2nd day. But God decided to show them a lesson. We could go on and on. We could talk about Nehemiah. Well, he was charged with rebuilding that wall around the city because how can you defend a city if it's big, if you don't have any walls around it? Now, anyone who want to be engineers, you know, or if you build anything from a little tree house or a 3-bedroom house or anything big, you know you can't do that without a plan. Now, you could try, but Jesus says if you don't count the cost, probably someone will be jeering at you. Okay? David, another example. He was very strategically minded. And when he needed help, he had 200 men from the tribe of Issachar. He had thousands of warriors, but it was not by might nor by strength. It was by God's leading, and these men knew the times. 200 of them from Issachar that knew the times in which they were living, knew where to go when they needed help, knew who to listen to, how to strategize the conquest of a whole area that was totally populated and against them. We could talk about Paul and we could talk about some more, but we want to move on. Now, accomplish God's purpose through strategic planning. If you read Proverbs 19:21, it says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." Strategic planning, New Year's resolution. God's purpose is the element in strategic planning for the church that is vastly different from the secular strategic planning models. So I want to make that distinction. We want to follow God's plan. And he had a plan. When he came, Jesus, and we were celebrating Christmas, remembering it wasn't the time, but we remember that during this time, Jesus coming, he did not just pick up and say, I think I'll go. Spur of the moment, let me just go this time. It might be good. No. This was a plan laid out from the foundation of the world. Before the world began, God had a plan. There was no guesswork. He knew what he was going to do. And Jesus refreshed this plan in his mind because he had to. He was born and he had no information in his database. He had to go by what you and I have to go by. Okay? The BIBLE. What did Hector say the other day? Basic instructions before leaving planet Earth. BIBLE. Basic instructions. Jesus had to go through the basic training in order to know how to go about his life every day. Not once a year, like we tend to do, Okay? Every day. Proverbs speaks. The book of Proverbs have a number of clear practical principles regarding strategy and planning. And if you like, you could read. I'll go quickly. I'll just mention them. You can go to Proverbs chapter 14, and I will move forward 14 through chapter 20. Proverbs 14 and verse 15 says, "A simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going." Another version will say, "A simple man believes anything, but a prudent man gives thought to his steps." See? Steps, I like that word. A journey. Proverbs 15, verse 22. "Without counsel, purposes are disappointed. Don't go it alone. But in the multitude of counselors, there they are established." Or you could read another place, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed." Proverbs 16, 1 through 3, that I like. "The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." That's a Christian. The preparation of the heart and the answer of the tongue is of the Lord, is from the Lord. Verse 2 says, "All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes." Everything look good when you start a new business. Really. "But the Lord weighed the spirits." 16:3, "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." Elsewhere you read, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed." Proverbs 16 and verse 9, "A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps." 20 and verse 18, "Make plans by seeking advice. If you wage war, obtain guidance." This is David's son. You know about war. If you have a battle to fight, get advice, get support. Now, I will seriously advise everyone to take time, maybe you want to call this homework, to read Proverbs chapter 15 through chapter 24. It's not that much. But if you really read it, you will have to ponder the wise sayings, the practical advice. It will help us manage our daily lives. So, as my custom is, let's get personal. A few more minutes, let's get personal. Strategic planning deals with core issues that determine where an organization is going, what the company is, what are its values. The same as our New Year's resolutions. They should deal with our core issues, who we really are, our values, and where we are really headed. I slow down there just for a reason. I know this is not, you have been up late, like myself, but I want to pause a little right here, because if you were asleep during the first portion and getting your energy together, this is the time to stay alert. I usually wake up when the plane is coming for landing. So I took flight lessons, never flew alone, but I understand the most dangerous portion of any trip by air is the landing. The most important part of the piloting, you could put that thing on autopilot if he cares. 90% of the way, and the plane will just keep going. You don't know if he's asleep or not. The plane is just steady. If it bumps and wake him up, you say, "Oh, hey, please, fasten your seatbelts," and so and so. Okay? But the landing, no, they don't let you land by computers. There's a tower there checking you out, and you better be alert. And so let's stay alert. Just a few more minutes, okay? I want to just mention a few things that I think are personal and that we need to keep in mind. Core issues. core values are what we should be focusing on if we're going to set goals for ourselves for the new year. Let's set objectives that are truly meaningful, that reflect our core values, that support high-level goals. An organization strategic plan will not deal with the selection of paint colors, per se. Rather, it will deal with the principles that govern everything to do with how that paint is obtained and how it is used. Using this only as an example, we could also say that this same principle will also govern the values that determine who is benefited by the use, and pay attention, who is benefited by the use of every asset of the organization, both tangible and intangible, things you can touch and things you can't touch. We therefore remember the commandment, thou shalt not steal. We're going to go back in history as we look. You know, during this time, I used to see, and I don't see it anymore, people sending letters saying, you know, last year, and the family did this and that, and we went there and here and everywhere, and sometimes it looked like they're bragging. Huh? We did all these wonderful things, we had these wonderful trips, and we had so many great things happening in our family. Most of it is like that. We need to look back. If we're going to look forward, we have to. Okay? And we need to be honest with ourselves when we look back and look at ourselves. The question is, have we stolen anything from anyone, anywhere, the past year? Not just their goods or belongings, but their ideas. Further, looking deeper, even in our own hearts, have we coveted anyone's possessions, their achievements, their position, or even their relationships? Get into these principles. We might know them as the 10 Commandments, right? Have we been perfect last year? If we were, I need to hear it. And if not, we can do better. Right? Right? I don't move around too much because I'm stuck with the machine here. All right? We can and we will do better if we want to. Have we lied, directly or indirectly? Have we exaggerated a mistake, minimized a good deed, despised or belittled other people's contributions? Have we done that during the past year? Maybe we should not go here, but why not? Have we hated? No, I'm in church, right? But just listen up. I mean, this is not for us, right? But just bear with me. Have we hated or wished evil on anyone, anywhere? Maybe while driving those hazardous roads here in Orlando, Florida. Huh? When somebody cut you off, right? Even though you never cut off anyone, right? You never do that. Not even unintentionally, you never do that. Okay? Maybe you're distracted, maybe you're not, but maybe at work. Do we really like, better yet, since we're Christians, do we love everyone? Do we? I'm asking you to think, so I make these pauses. Do you love everyone at work? Even those that hurt us? You know, those who will take our ideas and our efforts and claim them as their own, try to get you fired if they can. What about us taking the ideas of others and saying they're our own? What about right here at church? Do we ever think evil of the actions or intentions or words of other people? Of course we don't do this to those who we like, or ones that we love. But what about those we don't like? Or we love everyone as we should? Do we love everyone in church, every single person, get along with them just fine? We love everyone? Quiet. One more question. Do we have favorites? No. You said, no. We don't have favorites, right? Do we share our time and our goods fairly with everyone? Do we support everyone equally in the time of their need? Do we? For example, when people, members or not, visitors, friends, when they are sick or absent from church for whatever reason, do we visit all of them? Or only a selected few? Should we come upon a desperate situation? You know, this is one thing that, move around a little bit. If you come upon a desperate situation, I heard these things before, will you struggle trying to decide, should I help this one first or should I help this person first? You can't help them both. But will you struggle with that? Who am I helping now first? Who can I save first? Will you struggle with that, or will you just go with the person that you like? That's the person you're going to save. Will you struggle? Do you have favorites? And that, you know, I mentioned earlier there was an announcement. What day is today? Okay, let me see. What day is tomorrow? The 1st, right? New Year's. So the pastor asked us to make the Bible a close friend and read our Bibles every day, okay? And try to cover the whole Bible in a year. So when we do that, we're going to come up with some very interesting stories. One of them will be the story of Jacob. What did he do? He put his whole family, except his beloved Rachel and his beloved his beloved son Joseph, because that's his son he loved, last. With himself, he was last, and he sent all the children and the other women and the other sons up front to meet Esau, who was coming to do what? Probably kill them all, hurt who he could. No, you're going to read that in the Bible. What I'm going to ask you is, put yourself in those stories and ask yourself, not what would I do? Ask yourself, what have I done? In different situations that we face in life, who do we put first? Where do we put ourselves? When we come to church, do we greet everyone alike? Do we greet all the visitors the same? Do we greet all the members alike? I am doing this, I know I'm stepping in it, but stepping in somebody's foot maybe, and somebody's foot. But we need to think about these things. I think we can do better. All of us can think where we stand. And I'll just skip around a few and finish up by saying, the question is, what has the past year been for you? What has it been like for you? What are your strengths, your gifts, your talents? How are you using them? What are your weaknesses? Yeah, we all have baggage. We all have weaknesses. We all have baggage. What is holding you back? What is keeping you from achieving your full potential? What are your opportunities? What are you doing with them? What are your threats? There are threats, internal and external. And I tell you, the internal threats, I tell you which one it is. Your greatest enemy is yourself. The biggest struggle is with yourself. You need to know who are our neighbors, who are our customers. What are we doing for them? Set goals for ourselves. We need to know who we really are. What are our values? What are we doing with our resources, with our influence? Finally, who is our God? You're going to set values, and you're going to set goals. You need to ask yourself the question, who is my God? It's very easy to just hear it said, but you need to ask yourself the question, who is my God? Every so often in Scripture, the question come up, and Elijah asked the question, Joshua asked the question, even Jesus asked the question, if the Lord is God, then serve him. If the Lord be God, then serve him. Jesus said, you cannot serve two masters. You're going to set goals for yourself now, very soon, I hope. You need to ask yourself what that resolution is going to be. What are you willing not to live for? What are you willing to die for? What's really meaningful to you? One of my answers to that is, we are willing to die for what we are currently killing ourselves over. We are already killing ourselves over what we're willing to die for. Where we spend our time, resources, or energy, that's where our treasure is. I could go on, but my question to you is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you want to be when you grow up?